Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Gayle Carson. Welcome to Living Regret Free, a program that shows you how to live a better and more joyful life. As an added bonus, I invite you to listen to an introduction to my Mindset Matters program, which ties into this so well. Go to www.sobmindset.com. It's free, and I know you will enjoy it. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at gaylecarson13@gmail.com or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. My guest today is Niajae Wallace. Niajae is an influencer and entrepreneur who helps her clients strategize and take actions towards living the life they truly desire. Specializing in sales funnels and automation, she helps others create time and location freedom. Welcome, Niajae. How are you today?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm trying to find out a little bit about some of the things you do to allow you to um, really live regret free, which is what we're talking about today. Give us an idea of what you do and what made you want to do it.
Of course. So I basically coach people to create online programs, membership sites, sales funnels, grow their emailing list, that type of thing. And the reason why I got into it, I used to own a brick and mortar business for 5 years. And the first year or two, I loved it. I owned a dance and aerial studio. So if someone isn't familiar with aerials, it's like Cirque du Soleil where you climb the fabric and do tricks in the air. And I absolutely loved it the first year or two, but I was the only studio in the city that offered aerial classes. So the business grew rapidly, probably faster than what I anticipated. And year 3, I became really burnt out. We were at capacity, and I didn't have a really good system and self-care regimen. So I was really burnt out, really exhausted, and I became very unhappy. I was burnt out, basically. So year 4, I got really obsessed with systems. I read a book that pretty much changed my mindset when it comes to business. It was a book by Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the book that I read that really changed my mindset was Choose to Be Rich, where he dives deep into the cash flow quadrant. And he explains the difference between owning a business and owning a job. And what I created for myself was a job. I built a job for myself rather than building a business. So I became really obsessed with systems and getting my business to operate like a well-oiled machine. And during that process, I realized what I really valued more than financial freedom was time and location freedom, because I feel like we start businesses because we want a certain life, and we get lost in that business, and our business starts to run us rather than us running our business. And so I realized, like, with this specific business, it's not in alignment with the lifestyle that I desire. So year 5, I sold my business. I moved to Florida, so I live close to the beach, and I transitioned to being fully remote. So I work from my laptop now, meaning I can travel anywhere in the world as long as I have Wi-Fi and still work and make money. So I really created this beautiful life for myself that feels good, and I adapted really good self-care habits, basically. And that's what I help other people do. So I became really passionate about helping other people strategize to figure out how they can get their business to a place to where they have the lifestyle they truly desire, because it's important that you're able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's important that you're able to enjoy your life. Most of the time, that's why people start businesses, because they want to spend more time with their kids, or they want to make a certain amount of money to be able to travel, to be able to have a certain lifestyle. But we get so caught up in allowing our business to run us, we don't enjoy it anymore. And so I help people create systems and sales funnels to automate a portion of their business so they have more time to enjoy their life.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about all of this, Niajae, because you could have actually gone the other way as well. I mean, if you were so overcapacitated with the business you had, you could have opened up a second location. You could have gotten other teachers in. You could have increased the size of your other business. I mean, you know, what happened to me, I had one small little modeling school. And when I filled it up, I opened another one in a different location, and so on until I had 7 of them. And, a pretty big business. So the whole point is you chose not to do that because of your own self-care procedure, and then created an entirely new lifestyle for yourself, which is fabulous, because you could have gone the other way as well. So it just shows your versatility, and it shows your resiliency that you were able to do that. So you also just started a podcast. So how did that happen?
Okay, so when and can I just speak to what you just said? The reason
sure,
I did consider that. I did consider opening another location, but what I realized with that specific business is that there was a cap on how much money I could make. There was a cap on how much money I can make. So I have this amount of space. I can only have this many students in a class. I can only have this many classes, within a week. So with pricing, you can only go up a couple bucks each season. So I looked at it and I said, if I max out every single class, every hour that I can have a class within a week, and I timed that, by 4 by the month, and then times that by 12 for the year, this is how much money this business has the potential to make. And I looked at that number and I said, I'm not happy with that. So even if I opened a second and third and fourth location, each location still had a cap on how much it could make. And I didn't want that. I wanted to create a business that had no cap on it. And that's one beautiful thing about sales funnels, where if you can only speak to 10 customers a day, with a sales funnel, automating that process, now you can speak to 100 people a day, or 1,000 people, or even 1,000,000 people a day. So I just felt there was a bigger impact that I can make in a different type of business, which is what I'm doing now. And with the podcast, I'm reaching a much larger scale and having an impact on a much, much larger scale.
Well, that sounds fabulous. So in your opinion, then, what is the key to happiness?
The key to happiness is finding your purpose. Finding your purpose. This is something I spoke about recently on the podcast. The podcast name is Abundance Hack, and the whole purpose of it is finding and achieving an abundant life. And to me, that's finding fulfillment, and you find fulfillment by finding your purpose. We all have a purpose. We all have gifts. We all have skills that we are meant to share with the world. And the way that I see it is, the further away from your purpose you go, the more unhappy you're going to be. The more there's a void in your life, the more that you feel an emptiness because you're not fulfilling your purpose. So the closer you get to your purpose, the more you're going to feel alive, the more you're going to feel like there's a reason why you are here on this earth, the more you're going to feel life, like your soul is set on fire. The closer you are to your purpose, and the more you're living your purpose, the more happy you're going to be with yourself and with your life.
Isn't it interesting that, of course, we all have different keys to our happiness, but what is wonderful is that, number one, you realized it early on. You know how many people go into business and then they stay in that business and they're trapped? So you were not trapped, which is wonderful. Number two, you totally changed your entire lifestyle by moving, by creating a different business, and by realizing what it was that Niajae needed to live by. So how have you translated this to help other people?
One of the things that I do, people come to me and they're like, okay, I need a sales funnel, or I want to create an online course. What I like to do is peel some layers back. I like to, what I call, reverse engineer. What is your end goal? What if you had a magic wand and you can wave it around and create the perfect business and the perfect life? What does that look like? whose life are you trying to make an impact in? Because, with business, people say, okay, I want to help women, but that's not really a target audience. There's different types of women in different phases of their life. So who are you really trying to make an impact like in their life, and what is the purpose of this business? What value is it offering? So really helping people understand their desires, their impact that they're trying to make in the world, and just peeling those layers back, because what I realized is I had a specific vision for myself, and I believe in energy, I believe in purpose, and I had a specific vision for myself, and I think the universe had a slightly different vision. And so I've had to shift and pivot, where when I made these changes, people are like, what are you doing? You're crazy. You're selling this thriving business. But I'm like, yes, it was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, but I was following what I felt was my purpose, and every business, every phase of my life has led me to where I am now. So it was certain lessons that I needed to learn in that business in order to do what I'm doing now. And so it was just one step in that journey. So one of the things that I recommend people do is really check in with themselves and figure out, what do I want? What do I truly, truly want? So I believe we all have desires, and life piles all this stuff on you. Your parents tell you this is what you should be doing. Your partner tells you this is what you should be doing. Sometimes coaches and mentors tell you this is what you should be doing. But it's really important that you check in and figure out what it is that you want. What does your perfect business look like? What does your perfect life look like? And start to work towards that.
Well, it's interesting. You made a very interesting comment, Niajae, and that was the universe had different plans for you. And I think sometimes we don't hear that, or we don't see that, or we don't feel that, because we're so busy on this treadmill of life that when the universe comes knocking at our door, we just don't open it. So you were very, very fortunate that you recognized it and that you were open to making this pivot and making this change, because there's a lot of people who wouldn't. And I know you're not you're not young in terms of, you're not a baby, but you're very young in terms of business. And so for you to recognize it, that was really tremendous, So if you were to say, because of all of this, what was your biggest struggle, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, that is such a good question. I've had so many struggles. I've had so many struggles. So I guess one of the biggest things is our upper limit problem, which everyone has this. And because I came from a place of like, no one in my family ever owns a business, no one in my family ever traveled, no one in my family ever, did anything substantial when it comes to career or business. So what I was doing was so foreign from other people that I was surrounded by. A lot of times I was just like, am I crazy? Because people around me are like, what is she doing? It's like, she's crazy. And I'm out here like, no, I have this vision, I have this goal, and I'm going to go for it. And people are like, honey, like, just get a job. But I had a vision for myself. So I think that really overcoming any self-doubt, and not just self-doubt, but doubt from others. People will impose their limiting beliefs on you. Because people around me never started businesses, they thought I was crazy for wanting to start a business. And that struggle of knowing that I have a purpose that's bigger than what some other people can see, and sticking to that. So we have an upper limit. When I say upper limit, I received that term from a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And he talks about how we cap our own happiness and success. We get to a certain point and we wind up self-sabotaging, because either we don't believe we deserve more, we don't feel like we can have more. So we have a threshold of how successful we'll allow ourselves to be. And so one of the things that I want to do with my podcast is inspire people to push past those blocks and allow themselves to really step into their power. When I was able to say, no, I am going to start a business. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy. Whatever it is, I am going to fight for this vision that I have for my life. And so many people don't want to put up that fight. They just say, you know what? Maybe I will get a job. You know what? Maybe I will just get like a decent career. Or for some women too, maybe I'll just settle down and start a family. And I went through that as well because, you know, times get hard and you're just like, maybe it's just easier for me just to be a housewife. And not saying anything is wrong with the housewife, but for my purpose, I felt like I had a bigger purpose than just settling for what other people felt I should do. And pushing past those limiting beliefs that people impose on you and ones that you have for yourself is difficult sometimes, but it's worth it. It's worth it to push past it because that's how you achieve the magical business and the magical life and everything that you dreamed of.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You brought up several points there, Niajae. Number one, I wonder what your family thought. Who were these people who did have a business? I mean, why were they different from you? Or why were they different from them? Or why were they different from any of the people that you surrounded yourself with? Why did no one in that entire environment think about, well, who are these people who have their businesses? I mean, even if it's a little corner grocery store, it's still a business. And, you know, it's interesting that they never equated anything that they saw with owning a business. And number two is the fact that, you know, what did Jim Rohn say, the famous philosopher, you know, you are the product of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So you really had to break out of that mold. But the other thing too is even today, getting a job is no permanence. I mean, if a company is sold, they kind of change all their personnel. If they close stores, like, you know, Walmart's closing all these stores, Sears has closed their stores. What about all those people who were employed by them? Where are they? They're having to look for more jobs. So the fact that you figured this out is fantastic. And the fact that you're trying to get this imparted to other people, especially young people, you know, your age, I think is fantastic. So what is next for Niajae?
Oh, wow. So I just launched my podcast and I'm loving it so far. Like the interviews that I've done has been really, really powerful. And to speak to what you just said, it's all about mindset. It's all about mindset. They were stuck in a certain mindset. And what I encourage people to do is adapt the mindset of someone who's living the life that you want to live. It's easy to listen to the people that are around you, but you really want to adapt the mindset and the positive habits of the people that have the life and the business that you want to have. So if someone has a business that you want to have and they say, I wake up every morning and I meditate for 15 to 20 minutes every single morning, then you should meditate every single morning. Like really adapt those habits that are going to allow you to shift your mindset for success. So for me, I just want to get my message out to as many people as possible and whatever vehicle I need to use to do that, but really just inspiring people to stop just existing. And like people are on that hamster wheel, just going, but they're not actually getting anywhere. So inspire people to live and then take it one step further and thrive. So yeah, that's my goal. My mission is just to grow my podcast. I have a lot of coaching programs. I coach 101. I also do 90-day masterminds. I have a membership site where I send motivational videos, just reminding people every single day to commit to being the best version of themselves. So yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great. So how do you think all of this is going to help people?
I think that with my story, it's going to help people realize that they can do it too. I don't have to settle. It's going to inspire people to notice their worth. A lot of people think, oh, I can't start a business. It's easier now than ever to start a business. With the internet, there's so many resources, and people say, oh, well, I don't know how to do this. There are so many resources right now. So I want to inspire people to ditch the excuses. People make all kinds of excuses. Oh, well, my childhood. Oh, well, money. Oh, well, I don't know how to do this. There are resources for everything. And our challenge is to push past any obstacle that we see in our way. So if you don't know how to do it, find out how to do it. Google. Google how to do it. There's so many resources right now. So really, there is no excuse. And then time is another excuse that I hear a lot. People say, oh, I don't have time to start a business. I don't have time to invest in additional income. But again, that's an excuse. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So you find time for things that are important to you. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to change your life? And instead of looking and saying, oh, I wish my business was doing that, or I wish I had this life, figure out the steps that you need to take, even if it's little baby steps. Every single day, take steps towards the goals and the life that you desire.
Well, that sounds terrific. So let's find out, Niajae, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you? And by the way, do you have some kind of a gift or something that you'd like our listeners to take advantage of? Or, oh, okay. Well, give us all that information.
So the best way to reach me is my website, niajae.com, Niaj.
Yeah, you better spell it for them because they're not going to know Niajae.
Yeah, it's Niajae.com. So that will lead you to my podcast, to my coaching, to my social media. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all of the platforms. And then for free gifts, I have a video series that basically helps you tap into an abundant life. And everyone's life and journey is different, but it's fundamentals that everyone needs, like self-awareness, for example. So it's a really great video series that if anyone can implement if they're trying to improve their mindset and their life. So that is niajae.com/free gift. So again, niajae.com/free gift.
Fantastic. Boy, that sounds terrific. And for those of you out there, you might also be interested to knowing that I have a new quiz called the sobquiz.com. And if you want to find out more about your future and where your direction lies, and you want to talk about, perhaps reinventing yourself, if you go to sobquiz.com, I think you'll be very, very happy with it. So, Niajae, what do you think is the biggest stumbling block holding people back?
Their mindset, 100% their mindset. If you don't believe that you can do it or achieve it, you're already defeated. So we have to push past the blocks in our own minds. And that's all about self-awareness. It's all about pushing past blocks. It's all about identifying our limiting beliefs, our negative self-talk. And then once you work on all of that, everything else will fall into place. If you don't feel you can achieve a goal, you're not going to be able to achieve it. So one, believing in yourself, and two, taking action. People sit around and talk about what they're going to do all the time, but really taking action and implementing the plans and the strategies that you come up with.
Well, that sounds fabulous. I mean, I totally agree with you. I have a program called Positive Mindset, or actually Mindset Matters is my program, because I do believe in mindset as well. I think it's just the way you look at things, the way you do things, the way you approach things. So I agree with you, Niajae. I think it's very, very important. And I just think, tell our listeners how old you are.
I'm 34.
She's 34, and look at what she's accomplished. And she, rather than saying, no, I can't do it, or gee, I started this business and what will people think if I don't continue it? She totally did a turnaround, went into something completely different, yet concentrates a lot on her own mindset, which is why she's on the Living Regret Free show. And it just shows you that where there's a will, there's a way, and you can create and accomplish anything that you really are looking for or are interested in. So to find out more about Niajae and get her free gift, go to Niajae, NIAJAE.com, and let's see what she can do for you, because I think she's a very important person for you to know. So thank you so much for being with us, Niajae. It's been a pleasure, and much success in your future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I choose my guests carefully, so if you have someone you'd like me to interview, please drop me a line at gaylecarson13@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out my intro program, Mindset Matters, at www.sobmindset.com. See you next week.